Okay, we have a question up front.
But it is what it is, and it's not like I can do anything about it. Nor I'm not complaining about it. I just want to understand it, and I don't understand it, and I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I'm gonna move forward, and it's done and over with. But I don't want to be the next guy that has to understand why the penalties are ramping up like they used to be.
Scott Abraham here at WBOC TV in Dover. Kevin, can you talk about this track a little bit and the challenges it presents you and your race team?
Well, I think for us, it's as a driver, it's a fun racetrack because you can be really, really aggressive as far as how you drive the track and how you charge the corners and how you do things. So, it's a track where you have to be able to stay in the throttle up off the corner to keep your car from pushing, but you have to, keep the forward drive underneath the car. So it's a challenging racetrack to drive fast, and when you're off, you're in the way. So it's just there's really no place you can hide here.
Okay, our next questions, we got David Newton.
Yeah, Kevin, David Newton, ESPN.com. When you talk about wanting to understand, do you feel like that NASCAR needs to go more black and white, like in other sports? If you throw a punch, you're automatically ejected. If you hook somebody out on the track on a straightaway, you're ejected. Would you like to see something like that? Do you get that clear?
Yeah, it can't be for a certain circumstance and how you wake up in the morning as to how you think that it needs to be treated. There has to be some guidelines on where it all is. So you hear the upper brass talk about wanting to do things more like the NFL or this or that, but you have to be consistent in order to do that.
Okay, our next question will come from Dave Rodman. Then we'll go to Steve Post and Lee Spencer.
Yeah, Kevin, Dave Rodman with NASCAR.com. When you look at your relationship with Kyle Busch and you're competing across all three series, what would be the ideal scenario for you?
I guess I don't understand that question.
As far as you two getting along, what would be the ideal scenario?
That probably won't ever happen.
That's wonderful, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Post.
Yeah, Kevin, going to change topics here a little bit. The Coca-Cola 600, can you talk about the length of that race, how much you have to adjust the race car throughout the race, going from afternoon to night, anything that really relates to how long that race is and how much time you have to work on your race car or how much time you may have to dial your race car out if you're good at the start?
Yeah, you can definitely do it either way. You can make it better. You can dial yourself way out. And I've been a part of that race several times where you start the race really good, and by the time it's dark, you're in big trouble. So you definitely have to have some past history as far as what the racetrack does, and that's one reason why the All-Star race is so important, just for the fact that everything you do in that race is at night, and the 600 is going to end at night. So you kind of have to take what happens at the All-Star race and then what you do in the daytime practices and mix those two together and rely on a lot of past notes and things to try to have a setup that's adjustable. And you have to make a lot of adjustments during the race just out of past theories and past experiences. If your car's not doing something and it's getting dark rapidly, you're going to have to make a change on the fly without your car doing something. You're just going to have to trust that it's the right change and just make it if the time is right as far as the sun going down and when the darkness is coming.
All right, we'll take a question from Lee Spencer and then go back to Bob Pockers.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Despite the fact that you guys are on probation, shouldn't there be a dispensation for the All-Star race since that's the ultimate boys have added event?
That's a question that Mike Elton or somebody will have to answer. I don't have the answer to that as far as what the rules are for that race. So I don't have the answer for that.
Bob, we need that. When you're having mic issues, we couldn't hear you. Make sure it's on.
Seen daily. How do you race Kyle Busch going forward, and does this also impact how you race anybody else?
Well, I mean, it definitely affects how you race for the next 4 weeks. We got the ultimatum yesterday of the explanation of how probation worked and how NASCAR expected us to race on the racetrack was put to us very clear yesterday. So, I think the way that the next 4 weeks go are basically, dictated to us yesterday in the NASCAR trailer.
Any other questions? Lee, let us get a mic to you.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Can you give us the Reader's Digest version of how probation works? Since we hear probation, double secret probation, fines under the table, fines that aren't reported. There's just there's such a gray area there. Also, can you address the fact that while the number 29 team came out to defend you, the 18 team was nowhere in sight to back up their driver? Can you talk about the cohesion you have with your race team?
Yeah, obviously, I've got a bunch of guys that are just a great bunch of guys that we all get along. We all have the same, approach to how we like to see things, what we think is fair and what we think is not fair, and everybody. There isn't a guy on that team that wouldn't lay under a bus for the next guy, and that really happened last year. As we went through the year, and it's just it's something that you just don't find very often. And this is a bunch of guys that I consider friends, and I think they consider themselves all friends. And them running up pit road is not a surprise to me. I think that they would back me. Whether I was right or wrong, they're gonna back me up, and I'll do the same for them. So that's the great part about our team, and the 18 team not backing him up. When you don't have a backbone, how can you back somebody up?
Okay, final question from Steve Post.
Yeah, Kevin, Dover, Charlotte, Kansas, the next 3 races are all 3 races that are in the chase. You're not locked in, but you're probably as comfortable or more comfortable than anyone else with the wins, and you're standing in the points. How do you approach these 3 races? Is there much testing going on? Is it bulk up the win column, a combination of all the above? How do you approach them?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think over the past few weeks we've been able to try things that we probably wouldn't have tried in the past. We struck out at Richmond on what we tried. I think Darlington was a huge success for us as far as the way the racetrack performance was, and hopefully that bleeds over into Charlotte. And this week is a little bit different than some of the racetracks just because of the type of racetrack that you're racing on. So. These are important weeks. Dover's in the chase, Charlotte's in the chase, just to kind of zero in on exactly what you need when it comes time towards the end of the year. So we're shooting for better setups and more wins. That's basically where we're at right now, points wise.
All right, one quick Claire.
Yeah, I think when you look at I have a lot of experience at this in the past, so I'll reference the past as things ramp up and you get in trouble the first time. It's best to just not get in trouble again, because you're gonna be the poster child to either change this process to make it more clear and see the fines ramp back up, or you're gonna be the guy that shows that it's not really going to change. So I just don't think that for us it's not going to be the smartest thing in the world to be that next guy. And I think as I don't know if you're referring to if you're referring to me or you're referring to 42 or 39. I don't know which one you're referring to, but there's just a lot of different elements to the whole thing that are happening right now that are confusing to the drivers. I think this week. I think that what happened at Darlington is already headed down that road.
Kevin, thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend.